Gianno Caldwell in the studio with me, Republican strategist and lobbyist with Caldwell Strategic Consulting. Called Consulting, C-A-L-D, consulting.com is
Correct.
the website. Your Twitter handle is at Gianno Caldwell. And Gianno, welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me again. We always have so much fun.
Oh, yeah. So here we have a classic example of the disaster that happens when a Republican tries to run government like a business. Flint's water supply. The governor wanted to break up the Detroit water supply, which is publicly owned. It's owned by the city. He wanted to break it into two and sell it off. And in order to do that, first he had to get Flint off it. And it actually would have saved money. Detroit was offering to save Flint hundreds of millions of dollars over the next decade. But he said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to take the Flint water because we've got this long-term plan. And now he's trying to weasel out of it. I mean, we know this now from his emails. He's trying to weasel out of it saying, well, we were trying to save $2 million a year, which is a flat-out lie. Lies, of course, are very characteristic of the private enterprise system, too. And in business, I mean, it's why we have courts to adjudicate people lying to each other in business. So are you ready to admit that it is a disaster to run a government like a business?
Well, first off, Detroit, reports that I saw said that Detroit was trying to really provide outrageous charges to Flint, Michigan in terms of the water supply.
No, not true.
So those are the reports that I saw. Maybe you saw some different reports.
I'm looking at all the major newspapers. I don't read Newsmax.
I would say that you don't read Newsmax.
And I don't watch Fox News. But I can tell you, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Financial Times, International Business News, they're all reporting that the Detroit water system offered a discount to Flint, and it would have cost them less to stay on Detroit's water than to move to water from the Flint River.
I say that this is mismanagement of government at every level. The federal government, the state government, including the local government.
So you're agreeing with me that when you run a government like a business, that is implicitly mismanagement.
That is mismanagement of government. Now, they wanted to save about $15 million. That would have been the savings. Now it's going to cost about $5 billion is what I've been hearing to really take care of the damage of the
at least
over 102,000 people being
that's just fixing the water pipes into their houses. These people have washing machines. They have not necessarily dryers. They got hot water heaters. Yeah. They've got pipes inside their houses. They're
because it's been fully contaminated.
That's right. You've got some of the not just contaminated but destroyed because the water was so caustic. So
then people have died.
Pipes that are leaking. Yeah. People are dying. People are sick.
Right.
So this, again, trying to save money, that is not the function of government. The function of government is to save people.
I agree. I mean, and they deserve.
What?
They deserve.
You're not really a Republican.
No, you do have to save people. That's what government is for, to a degree. But what I'm saying in terms of this $15 million and why I call it poor management is because if you think that you're going to save a city money, then you need to make sure, especially when we're talking about water, that you're going to get the same or better quality water. They didn't do their due diligence in this.
So are you joining me and Michael Moore in calling for Rick Snyder to be prosecuted?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Absolutely not. Because I don't think
he destroyed people's lives. He might have killed some people.
Well, then President Obama should resign too, and he should be prosecuted. Because
I don't recall President Obama poisoning a city in the United States in order to make profit for his cronies.
The Obama administration had oversight over what was going on in the EPA. That's why their regional director has resigned. So if you're going to put that kind of forceful blame on the governor, then
you're talking where that private corporation had a gold mine operation in Colorado. They abandoned it, as private corporations do. They don't give a rat's ass about we the people. And so the government, the EPA, operating under a slashed budget, and this whole...
Now it's a slashed budget.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
and
the sequester. There was a slashed budget, too.
And the sequester... No. Well, yeah.
If you're going to compare, you got to compare in both instances.
I agree with you. Rick Snyder has destroyed the government of Michigan. And certainly the government of Flint was not just destroyed. They were pushed out of the way with the emergency manager. But the EPA had their budget cut to the point where they had to hire private contractors to do things. I mean, we used to have...
But again, the regional
CBs,
administrator...
The construction people... We used to have an entire division of the Army that built things prior to Reagan. Since Reagan, it's all been privatized. Before Reagan, I had somebody call into this show yesterday and say, before Reagan, the guys who were building the bases and things and rebuilding the countries, if they got invaded, they'd pick up their gun and fight. Now the guys who are building the bases, they're making $250,000 a year, and if they get invaded, the soldiers have to pick up their guns and defend The mercenaries. This is the sick twistedness of Republican ideology.
This is a good turn of events. This is the first time I've been on your TV show, radio show, and you said something in support of guns. So I agree with you there, Tom. It is a change of events.
Guns are necessary in war zones, yeah.
I mean, they're necessary in cities too. But
nonsense.
Moving on to Flint, though, when it comes to the regional administrator of the EPA, the U.S. EPA, they are supposed to have oversight on what's going on locally, state level. That's generally where they come in. They're kind of sort of the big brother, if you will. They were notified. I believe the professor over at Virginia Tech, he went to them and said, "Hey, this is an issue. You guys need to take a look at this." And they told the mayor. They told the regional administrator. Told the mayor, Obama administration regional administrator, said, "No, you don't need to worry about this. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about."
Leanne Walters, whose home eventually returned tests. This is from Flint's Bottom Line by John Patrick Leary over at Jacobin Magazine. Leanne Walters, whose home eventually returned tests of 13,200 parts per billion, double the EPA standard for hazardous waste. 13,200 parts per billion of lead led regular demonstrations in Flint that forced independent investigations of the water. She's the one who triggered this thing. Walter's children tragically now show the symptoms of lead poisoning. The city responded to her officially by suggesting that she hook a garden hose up to her neighbor's water.
I know. I tell you, when Democrats are in control, this is the kind of responses
this
we
was
get.
Republicans in charge of this city.
No. The
yes,
Democrats,
there was an emergency.
The mayor is a Democrat.
The mayor has no power.
But the mayor is a Democrat.
This was the emergency manager's office.
But either way, regardless of party, who was in charge or who wasn't.
I'm sorry, there is no regardless of party. Republicans destroy lives. Democrats protect lives. It's really that simple.
The mayor of Flint is a Democrat.
And she did not agree on this.
It was the city that said you should hook up a hose, as you said. That wasn't the Republican administration in the governor's office.
Gianno,
it wasn't the Republican administration. It was the Democrats that said this.
You don't know
it
that.
Sounds like you just said it. You just said
the city is being run by a Republican emergency manager.
No.
Okay, we are straining at gnats and swallowing camels here, buddy. The camel that we're swallowing is that Rick Snyder campaigned on. I grew up in Michigan. I'm familiar with this. Half my family still lives in Michigan. He campaigned on being a nerd. His term. I'm one of those green eyeshade guys. I'm all about the numbers. I'm a business guy. I'm going to run this state like a business. He's done that. When you run a government like a business, you destroy it. Businesses are run to make profits for their owners. Governments are run to create a more perfect union to protect it. Well, the preamble to the Constitution lays it out. It's a completely different job description. It's a completely different system.
And I would say, again, this was poor management. Shame on the governor for not taking the people of Flint.
Republican management is always poor management.
Because they came to him, they came to the administration, they came to government.
Gianno, this was Reagan's strategy, starve the beast.
The resident of Flint went to the governor, they went to other elected officials, and they didn't take their concerns seriously. I say shame on the governor for not taking their concerns seriously.
And he should go to jail.
Shame on the Obama administration for not taking their concerns seriously. And when an actual expert went to the Obama administration and said, "Hey, this is what's going on," they told the mayor of Flint, "There's nothing wrong. You don't have to worry about it."
So we're calling for both Governor Rick Snyder, Republican Governor Rick Snyder, and President Obama to go to jail.
I'm not calling for that. That's what you're calling for. And you know what? If that's what you
calling for Rick Snyder to be impeached or to withdraw, to resign?
You know what?
It's fine. If he just poisoned people, what should be his consequence?
If an investigation proves that there was some legitimate corruption here, absolutely. I'm
not talking about corruption. I'm talking about ideology. The Republican ideology is corrupt.
Well, then that'll be a lot of folks that's going to jail, even some of your listeners.
A lot of
people,
knows?
And Bernie Sanders supporters.
Reagan put 100 banksters in jail. I've not seen Democrats put
Hillary Clinton.
any banksters in jail.
Hillary Clinton.
Jesus. You are the never-ending bumper sticker, Gianno Caldwell.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.